fucked me right in the asshole.
Oh boy, not even out of the prison, and already working on the next illegal guide. Well, it can't get much worse, so let's start. The KMSZ-1 is a German lally boat, also known as a destroyer. It was one of the first destroyers ever launched from the German Kriegsmarine. That's why it has such an obvious name, Z1. Before the start of World War II it was used as a flagship with her 3 sister ships. So nothing really special. After 2 years the Second World War started, and she helped to attack the Polish Navy. Like there was ever a big threat. They had some problems during this day, then they got hit by a 15cm round by artillery, and lost 4 men by that. Later on the mission Wikinas, she was supposed to secure a waterline and destroy some British ships. Well, it never came to that. Then because of bad luck and misplanning they forgot to inform the Luftwaffe, and because it was night the German pilot couldn't see if it was German or British, but because they were never informed that there should be German ships around, and attacked them. She was hit by a 50-kilogram bomb, and with that they lost control of the rudder. A second bomb attack came, but until this date, they don't know if the ship was destroyed by the second bomb or a mine, because later they found out that the British laid a minefield there. 282 people died, only 60 survived. A short story for the first destroyer of the Germans, but at least she lives on in Azur lane. So let's go over her. Z1 has a rarity type of elite, but some time ago we had the German event we all waited for, and with that we also got her Retrofit, and with that she got the super rare rarity, and with this, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the guide to Z1. Before we look over the stats, we want to know how we get her. Well, this is easy. Either you play these maps, or you go to construction and spam the shit out of this button, and that's how you get her. And now, we can go over the stats. In total it looks really good. Everywhere a B rating except the HP. There she got only a D. First, the firepower. Her firepower is in the lower average, even with the Retrofit. If you're looking for something good with firepower, take one of these 2 memes here. She simply wasn't made for close combat. There is only a small amount of destroyers with good firepower, because DDs were simply made for the good maneuverability in torpedoes, and to annoy submarines with depth charge, but that's their other story. Next on the list is her AA. She has one of the best anti-airs in the game. At 209 points she got almost the best AA in the game. Only some other ships had such high AA. Mostly the Americans, and one German boy. But at least you can consider her for anti-air support. Now the HP. Her health pool is really big at 1890 HP. Everything about 1700 hit points is good for a destroyer. She is with that health pool in the top 15. So really not bad. But there is a dark side of this, because the survivability comes not only from the HP, but as well from the evasion. But you're probably asking right now, what should be the problem? She has a B rating there, isn't that good? Well, B rating sounds good, but when you look at the DD stats, it absolutely surprises you. Then the German destroyers have the worst evasion in the entire game. Only Z23 with her retro is rather decent, but that's it. Z1 had the worst evasion stat in the entire game, not counting these 2 memes. Her Retrofit boosted it a little bit, but not by much, so don't count that she survives too long. And lastly, the Torpedoes. Until now everything sounded pretty decent, so this must be the gimmick of this ship, right? Well, yes, but actually, no. She has only 447 points at that stat, which is not bad. But there are even some low tier destroyers that can deal more damage, but don't worry, because she got 4. That's a nice perk that helps her a lot. So let's look at them. She has 3 perks with her Retrofit. The first one of them is Z Vanguard. It increases the firepower and evasion of all Z-class destroyers by 40%. Sound really cool and strong. But when you remember how bad the overall survivability is, you will change your mind really quickly. Having more than one destroyer in a fleet is a terrible idea. There are some exceptions, but most of the time it will be chaos. So I recommend you that you stay with 1DD. So sadly does this perk only buff her when she is alone, but you can still try to use other German destroyers. I just don't recommend it. Next is distribution mode. Every 20 seconds you get a 80% chance to activate this skill, and when it does, it increases the critical hit damage by 50% and decreases the damage your vanguard takes by 30% for 10 seconds. A nice perk, especially when you time it with your torp and deal with that a huge amount of damage. And a cool side note, if you didn't notice it, this skill is based on her history. Then since she got hit back then by aircraft bombs, you get that increase as a cool gimmick. And now lastly we got the all-out assault barrage. When you combine it with a high reload gun, you will get pretty good use out of it, since it activates after every 10th shot. So, at least you will get some more damage. So that were her perks. Let's peek over the equipment now, and see what we should equip. For your main battery, you would either the French 138mm single or the American twin 127mm guns. They have both the best damage output of all the destroyer's gun. The French one is a little bit better, but sadly you could only opt in it during a special event. As for the torps, we all know the answer. Of course, the homing torpedoes. Don't be silly. But if you would like something else, then taking the 610mm quadruple mount would be the second choice. But because you watch this guide, you will take the German one. As for the AA, you can equip something good, because this ship actually has existing anti-air. Either you can equip the quadruple 40mm or the twin 40mm Bofors guns. The twin is more my choice, since it got better rate of fire, and sometimes you need that last finishing hit. And now the auxiliary equipment. This is really simple, just take 2 oxygen torpedoes and that's it. You will do massive damage with that, but also consider that she will mostly die, since she has bad evasion. So either take in mind changing one of them to a repair toolkit, or take a support ship that increases her evasion. Well, that was the loadout. Z1 is a great ship, but definitely not without flaws. You can deal huge damage with her, so maybe consider using her. Before I forget, should I do as the next guide formidable, or try to make a guide to the new event ships? Just vote up there and tell me what you want. But until next time, I will try to get every new event ship. Like serious, I already spent over 100 cubes, and I only got 2 of them. Yeah, this place is hell. So with that, robot voiceover and out.